So hello everyone, Monday. Welcome to my review of Ballroom episode 9. Another really good episode, and first and foremost, I have to say the ending. If you don't look at the ending, look at the ending again. That was my biggest live reaction point to it. I was like, what, the ending? Because first of all, ending episode 1 to 4, we see Tatara dancing, right? In the shadow dancing around. Then in episode 5 to 8 then, or 5 to 6 or something like that, we see him dancing with Mako-chan, right? In like the normal clothing. Then we see in the last episode before this, we see them dancing in the bar dresses, especially in Mako, we see her with like her long sleeves and so on. So that, I just loved it in that. I just love that detail. And then we see in this episode, we see that he is gone. It's only Mako-chan. I love that so much. That made me scream like a little girl. That was amazing. That's such a good detail, right? Because obviously episode is about Frame and Flower, about him like making her blossom, right? Making the woman stand out, and the guy is supposed to be the frame, being in the background, and yeah, he does it so well that he disappears, right? And everyone's like, oh, what did the leader do? I barely saw him. Yeah, what did he do? I barely yeah, and then obviously that in the ending, he's gone out and she's the main character. I just loved it. That was just so good. Oh my god, that was amazing. I think that's breathtakingly good detail. I say this every time I see it in the ending thing. But that was such a nice touch to it, to remove him there completely and make him invincible, as everyone's commenting. So I think that was brilliant, really brilliant. Anyway, then the episode, one thing to the episode, and it's a good episode, but man, it was 1 minute. This reminds me of like you were watching Pedal season 2, where it's like, oh, we're gonna ride this last 500 meter, and it's like 3-4 episodes I'm talking about it. It's like, how have you not ride it? Like, because when you ride a sport, top speed racer on a bike, you go pretty quickly, so you will probably pass those 500 meter in like a few, yeah, max 1 episode, right? And here it is like, oh, it's 1 minute of dancing. 1 minute of dancing is 20 minutes of an episode. So this is like the hardest like battle sport anime. Like yeah, we gotta look at every angle, and every person has to have their own like inner monologue about what they're seeing to. Everyone's like, Marissa's like, interesting. Tempeh, the old guy, also is like, he's doing that thing. Sengoku is like, oh, he's too young to do this thing. Hyodo is like, is that my variation? I see everyone's reaction, right? So the pacing in that sense, and when I look at it, it's enormously slow, right? Like, oh, they moved 1 step. Like, insanely. Yeah, it's 1 minute of their time, it's 20 minutes in our reality. Yeah, that is insanely slow in that sense. Didn't feel like it though, and that's a good thing in this anime. That every scene has meaning, is really good action, like everything's really fun to watch, really entertaining, right? So I think it's not like 9 out of 10 episode for me. Yeah, probably. The only thing I didn't like this episode, which like I said right away, then it's just the flashbacks. They were very nicely put though. So like production-wise, they were perfect. They put them in the right direction, right place. They weren't like just some random flashback that made no sense. They always, okay, this is a flashback here. If you have a flashback, it should be here. So that was good. But I was like, man, the flashbacking Mako crying from the last episode. The flashbacking what we just saw in the ending to like the last minute of last episode is flashback here again. Okay, it's perfectly fitting here, but like yeah, I have that very fresh in my memory. I just saw that. And if you binge watch this, as someone will do, then you probably get rid of it because you just saw that. But then you absolutely saw it. But even for like a weekly watcher, I feel that's like it's not like episode 1, and it's episode 88. Then it'd be like, oh yeah, that's it. Now it's more like, yeah, you saw that last week. So that's the only bad thing. The only thing I wouldn't say that was bad episode. And I did it like 3 times too. So it was like, if it only once, I would be like, okay. But not 3 times, 2 times at least, 2 longer times there. It was like, And I also did the Mako with Gadio. And that's like, I think it's a good flashback. And next week's gonna be their flashback. I think it's gonna be very interesting to see episode 10 there. During the preview, it's gonna be about them as children. This will be very interesting. But their flashback, which I think is a very good flashback actually, when he is like, what do you want to be, woman? What do you want to be? Like, why don't you tell me? Like, that's like, I think it's a great flashback. And I love that scene. But that flashback, we also have seen exactly the same flashback earlier in last week. And I think, or maybe like 2 weeks ago. So that's when I think I reused flashback. So that's not only issue the episode had. That being said though, I think that scene was very goodly, very nicely placed there. Again, because it's like, while Gadio feels like a really overbearing, really abusive older brother, a big evil Oni-san, at the same time though, it's like, I'm not saying that he's perfectly right, absolutely not. I think he's very mean, of course. But you have to give him some credit though. Like she's very inactive when they're younger, like a year or whatever before this current storyline. He's like, what do you want to? But in his perspective, I have to say though, he's like, what do you want to do, sis? Like, what do you want to do? She's like, whatever you want to do, big brother. He's like, no, what do you want to do? Like, what dance do you want to train on? Do you want to do what? He's like, whatever you want to do. Like, what do you, no, okay, whatever. But we have to improve it. What dance do you want to be? What variation is fits your whatever strength, right? Whatever. And she's like, I just want to be in the way. Like, and he gets frustrated. So I can understand his frustration. So that is really annoying. I haven't danced very much. I did some dancing many years back, but mainly as a martial artist, which I've done my sport. I mean, I've been doing a lot of sport, but mainly martial art. And like that is some similar to dancing in the martial art. It is definitely is. You have your partner, you do your fight, right? You do your sparring. So if you fight someone, when you train with them, you spar with them, it's kind of annoying if you say like, okay, every week it's like, okay, so what do you want to do? Because you have your partner, or like if you train at dojo for many years in the same place, you get like a few people you do train with a lot of time, right? And it's like, okay, so what do you want to train this thing? And they're like, whatever you want to do. It's like, it's fine. Like I don't really feel like I need to, because it's kind of annoying. Because I have like, okay, I know I want to train my Umoto-renge pretty much. Like, I want to train that move. That's in my head. But I'm like, I did train that like an hour with you last week, so I'll let you decide this week instead, because I don't want to be like, I'm trying here to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. It's like you're trying. In your perspective, you're like, I have something I actually want to do with you as my partner. I have my training schedule we could use, but we all is in my schedules. I don't want to be overbearing, right? So I get guy frustration because he is very overbearing there where he currently is, but he was trying not to be overbearing when they were young. He was trying to be the nice guy, say, what do you want to do? He's just like, I don't care. It's like, what do you want to do? And then he went to become overbearing. It's like, whatever I say. And I can actually understand in that sense though. Obviously he's taking it too far, but I can see why so I think that also makes the anime really good, because it's very not black and white type. This is very typical Japanese though. It's not my gray area, because I can see him being the guy that I was trying to be nice, I was trying to let you decide, but whatever I said, you always wanted me to decide anyway. So now I'm just gonna be a tyrant and decide for you always, even if you complain against me, because I asked you 20 times. You never complained, and now you complain, I don't care anymore. Like, I could see him coming to that realization of like, I don't care, because I tried to be nice, you didn't care about it, you just said whatever, okay, so now you're complaining, yeah, it's too late. So I could see how he gets there though. It makes sense, even though he's taking it too far, but it makes sense. So I think I like it a lot, because obviously, I would say in my own life, especially martial art, I could be the guy coming in and say, okay, so we did my routine last week, we trained Hoi Kampo, whatever, right? We train these moves, we train these kicks. What do you want to do? And the guy's like, oh, you do moves. I was like, no, what do you want to do? Because I'm pretty good at that. I know I can graduate this thing. The next belt is mine. Whatever black belt is mine now. Like, what do you want to train on? I can be here. But actually, in that thing though, I'm not coming from martial arts perspective here though, but I guess that's the thing, is that it's kind of annoying actually, because in a little martial art, I guess martial art would be even worse, because sometimes you feel like, you just do whatever you want against me, so you can train your moves, because I just want to train actually defending myself from your moves, your abilities. I just want to see what you're going to do, and I want to train on that instead. And I actually don't want you to tell me what you're going to do. Tell me generally what we're going to do. If it's like it's close or long range, or it's like, grapple. Just tell me generally what your plan is, so I don't like completely blood off. It's like, what am I doing? Suddenly it's like, I come with a weapon here. Like, just tell me generally what we're doing. And then we go from that, because that also can be good, right? But you can experience, you want to train the defense, you want to train that thing, and I guess I haven't danced too much in my life, but I would guess when you do a dance with someone, even if you were the man and you should be the leader, he can be like, well, sometimes it's good if you have some initiative, so you can train this variation, right? Or maybe you're gonna lead or something similar to that, so I can also react to that. Especially Tatara, when she's stripping, he's reacting to that. So like he's reading, like the Marissa, whose mom mentioned that it's very good at body language, right? Like how Tatara is very good at reading body languages and so on. So he's very reactive to her, and that's why he can make her shine even more. Because he feels that, oh, she's doing this, and I'm gonna do this, and make her, yeah. So that's a thing that for Gadio's defense, he could be like, I wanted to be like Tatara. I wanted to be a reactive leader and like see what you're gonna do, and then use and enhance that what your current movement is, right? But she's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, so I can see him being fascinated to that a lot, right? He's gonna train he wants to train on that, and she's like, no. So with Tatara instead, she changed her mind, and now she's going for it, right? So I think that is a big thing. This is my just random estimate for martial art, but I think that is one of the big things why Tatara can make her shine more, because she never really, not like a leader, but like she never took initiative at all, right? Where she was Gadyu, and now she's going to the left, so on, and then as Marissa saying that, okay, Tatara, the boy 23, he's very good at reacting, so he's like very good at body language, he's very good at memorizing, copying, so on, right? And also reading her body language. She's like, okay, she wants to go higher, I'm gonna, yeah, so he can react to that and make her blossom more, right? So that's why Gadyu never could do it. In one reason, I would say one factor at least, because she never took initiative with him, so he could never like, reactively lead her. That's something he probably wanted to, so I can see his position in that. Definitely, I think that's also which is good. But that being said, though, that also probably a reason. This is my review, my answer there. But I will guess that's to be a big reason why he doesn't shine very much now, because he's too reactive, right? Tatara is too much. Okay, she's going to the right, I'm gonna go extra right. Yeah, she's going there. You know, so he's like, okay, she wants to do this thing, I'm gonna spin her. Yeah, he's doing that too much, making her really, really blossom. That's what his frame and flower aim. She's a huge flower now, but his frame is like diminished by that. And I think it's very interesting. Actually, I really like the sport team because obviously you want to have both person. You want the women to stand out, but the guys have to stand out as well, so you get points for both of them. Because everyone is like, how do we evaluate him? He was like gone, right? Some people around is like, I can't even see a leader. Oh, she just has a better partner. Like obviously he's the one making it stand out, and Marissa like, oh, those people didn't even know dancing. They can't even see how good he is. Like yeah. So, but even her then, everyone else was like, how should we grade him? And even Marissa, Hoda's mom, was like, I don't want to grade him too high anyway, because even though he made her stand out insanely and made her a 10 out of 10 or like 20 out of 10, but she only got 10 out of 10, he kind of diminished himself too much. And like Hodo, I would say her own son, he's like, you know, he makes Suzuka stand out a lot, but also making himself probably stand out enough to be like a 10 or 9 or something around there at the moment is 10, and they get 19 points. Where in Tatara's case, it's like, oh, she made the girl be 20 out of 10, but you still only get 10 points for her, and he's like 5 out of 10, so 15 at total. So he will lose on that. So I actually really like that. That was very interesting how they're teaching her, Hodo and Sengoku teaching her now that, okay, you have to make the woman stand out more, you have to, you know, be a better partner, learn this flower and frame thing, but it's taking it too far, so he still has a lot to learn, right? So he's like, okay, that is great, you're a great man, you managed to really take that thing, but you need to step back a bit, or you need to do that and evaluate as well, so you get more points here. So I think that's something he's gonna learn, right, and probably lose here, of course. I think he's gonna lose here, yeah, because she's probably gonna get max point, right? And that's gonna make Gadyu be confused, and then my sister getting 10 points, like 10 out of 10, yeah, pretty much. But he's probably gonna get half or something, so the average score is pretty bad, right? So, but I think that's really good though. He's obviously learning as a good typical sport animal. He has to step and step become better. So I really like that. I don't know exactly what happened. I guess I had the manga, but that's why I guess they're gonna lose mainly from that, at least, that he didn't stand out at all. It was very interesting because obviously his dream earlier was that he wanted to stand out. He was selfish. He wanted to, now it's like all about the girl instead, making her stand out. So maybe he's changed, but obviously in the end it's too much though. So yeah, so it's like but I think even if it's too much or not, he's very self-sacrificing. So I like it a lot. I think that makes him he's a really great main character. Really like compassionate and very lovable main character for sure. But yeah, a little weird how the episode was just 1 minute, and I reacted to that, especially myself when I was watching it, and I was like, halfway? Yeah, because he said that during the thing, you see in Tempe, he's like, you do it to me. And I did like one point that I mentioned that, he said Sengoku was like, man, they're just going crazy stuff here, but they're doing a very like performance-based dance here, very focused on just like the audience and going to this yard, with this yard, and like really like showing that, so that's great, it's reacting to the audience. He's very, obviously, Tatara again, he's very, very inherently talented on like reading people, reading the mode of the floor, reading the other people around, so that's really great. And they were doing that thing in the beginning there, and I was like, we see them doing the wall thing, right, and it's like, we're halfway through, what are they gonna do now? I was like, halfway through? That was halfway? That was like 5 or more minutes of anime. I was like, man, this is halfway through? And then they actually turned out the whole episode was gonna be them with some flashback turned in there, and that kind of pad at the time, but yeah. But that was nice. So but overall, I think it was another really, really good episode. I loved Tatara as a main character. Very, very interesting. But I do think, some commented last week here, but I do think that one of the reasons probably why Mako wouldn't be his best partner then is because she has to have him push her too much. She's a little too timid as him. It's interesting, it's very interesting, but it feels like he needs a partner that both he can make a perfect flower, right? But he also makes himself stand out. So this also kind of puts some strain on him and Mako as a partnership, I feel. But he can make her now become a 10 of 10. I would say easily, but he can't do that. But he has a problem doing it by herself. Yeah, so I think, and that's probably what God you felt as well. That he was like, when I'm dancing with you, I am very outstanding. I'm very in the focus, but you get 0 by 10 points. And there was like the reverse instead. So she is a partner's problem being a good, like a medium value of needing both like, meeting up and doing it herself. So I think it's interesting. Probably a reason why she won't be his last partner. One of the main reasons. So anyway, see you guys next week and have a great day.